Welcome to my knitting podcast. My name is Matilde and I'm a knitter from Portugal. First of all, I want to thank you all for the support that you gave me on my first episode. I wasn't expecting it, and I want to thank you all for all the lovely comments and also for all of the knitters that send me messages on Instagram. I wasn't expecting such a warm welcoming on YouTube, and I'm really grateful. So thank you for all the support. So for this episode, I have one finished object and 4 whips. So let's start with what I'm wearing. I'm wearing the Wishbone sweater by Kutova Kika. I talked about this sweater in my first episode, and honestly I'm wearing it because I think this is the last chance in this year that I have to record a video wearing it, but I'm really hot in this. This is a really warm sweater and I'm pushing through this video so I can show it off because I really love this sweater and I'm really glad with everything. So my finished object is the Book Club Cardigan. I actually did a knitting vlog for this. You can check it in my channel, and I really loved this knit. It was obviously a lot of work. I finished the body with all the excitement of casting on. I knitted quite fast, and then after finishing the body I started a test knit, and well, afterwards when I finished the test knit and came back to this project, I was assuming it was already almost finished, but the sleeves and the button band took quite some time. I would say it took as much time as the body, or maybe more, I don't know. But I love the finished object. I like the yarn. It has a bit of structure, so I like that for a cardigan that works as an outer layer. So I'm happy with it. I like the fit. I knitted this for my mother. I knitted the size 4, but actually I think I'm going to steal this cardigan from my mother sometimes because I also like the oversized look. And that is it. The buttons, I really love them, and I bought them in Porto yarn store, Ovelha Negra, and I ended up just using 3 instead of the 4 that the pattern recommends, because I did more increases here, as I mentioned in the previous podcast, so afterwards I think the fit is best with just the 3. So that is it. I did some mistakes. The ones that I mentioned in the last podcast were the pearls here that I fixed. I had one comment saying that it didn't need it fixed, and I just want to say that I agree that sometimes we just have to embrace the fact that it is a handcraft garment, and we have to embrace the mistakes that we do, and I totally agree. In this case, I fixed it because I was afraid that the button band would curl, because the pearls were curling up, so I was afraid that that would happen still with the button band, and the cardigan would have a weird fit when opened, so I fixed that. And then the other mistake that I did later on was that I didn't do the right decrease ratio. As you can see, is a bit balloon shape, but I don't think you can. I still like the fit and I embraced it, but I wasn't very careful while reading the pattern. But the pattern was very, very clear, and I liked the pattern. The problem was on me, definitely. And then for the button band, I knitted it picking up half of the stitches that were recommended, so every other stitch I would pick up. Every other row I would pick up a stitch. And then while blocking I stretched it while it was still wet, and the overall fit ended up being okay, but it was also a bit stressful. And lastly, I did play the yarn chicken with this because I only had like 5 grams left. It was ridiculous, but it worked out at the end, and I'm really happy with the garment. My first whip is the Solene Cardigan by Moreca Knits. I love the pattern because I learned to do German short rows in my test knit that I did for Sari Nordlund, that I'm not going to show the finished object here because I don't think I can do that. But I learned to do German short rows there, and since then I've become a bit obsessed. I like the act of shaping the knits. So I'm loving German short rows, and the Solene Cardigan, I feel that it is like a German short row party, because you have to do the German short rows for create these triangulars, and then only afterwards that you start knitting normally flat. And the same for the front panels. You do the other triangular shape thing, and then continue knitting from there. And there are really a lot of German short rows in this pattern, but I think the fit is going to be amazing at the end. So I'm quite excited, and this is how far I am. I'm not yet, I didn't join in the round yet, because I have other whips that I'm focusing more, but I'm loving this one as well. I'm knitting with Rosarios 4 Merian yarn in the colorway 3. It is 100% wool. I really like the little points. And I'm holding 2 strands of this because this is fingering weight. So that is it. Actually, at least now that I'm a bit of a beginner knitter, that I'm knitting a lot for only 1 year, I just allow myself to have one yarn that I don't have a plan, and this was that. I bought this yarn just because I liked the little dots, and I didn't know what I wanted to do, but this cardigan, since it is stockinette, I think it ended up being a good option. And also because I think, because I'm holding 2 strands together, the colors are better managed, because when you only knit with 1 strand, as I will show in the picture, you kind of get a more striped look, and like this is a bit more random, and I like it more. So that is it for this whip. My second whip is a test knit that I'm doing for Valentina Bogdanova, and it is the Carmina T, and it is a lace yoke. I think I can show it because she published it on her Instagram, so I think it is I can show off the knit. And I'm really liking it as well. I like the yoke lace projects because when you cast on, you have all the motivation when the pattern is more challenging, and then when you are finished with the yoke, it's just a mindless project. So I'm loving it, and you have like an option to do the big yoke and then the smaller yoke. That it means that you skip one of these little leaves in the pattern, and I really like it. I'm knitting this with Regia yarn, Regia Premium Cashmere. It is 55% wool, 25% polyamide and 10% cashmere. I don't know if you remember, but I was knitting the Field Sweater by Camilla Vad with this yarn, and then I frogged it, and I didn't knew what I wanted to do with this yarn. So this project was perfect. It came on the right time because I don't want to build a stash, at least not with this yarn, because I bought this yarn when I was quite a beginner, and well, I think right now I prefer more natural yarns because this has 25% polyamide. So I just want to knit the a bit synthetic yarns that I have now. I also have my other whip is with a synthetic yarn that I purchased in around the same time, and I want to get rid of these yarns. And if I'm going to build a stash, I want it to be with more natural fibers. So I was glad to find this pattern because I think it works very well with this yarn, and it is a check in my to-do list. So that is it. Moving on to that other whip that I talked about is this one. I'm actually not following any pattern. I just did this construction, like I put a stitch marker and here, and I would do make one right in every row and make one left in every row until I reached this point. I was always trying it on. And when I reached this point, I started just always knitting here, and with the stitch marker in the same place, I was always making one right where previously was one left, and one left when previously it was a make one right. I switched, and it created this effect. And I just knitted away, did some decreases here, and then just purled and knit one row purl, one row knit to do this finished, so it wouldn't curl. So that is it. I have to do the other sleeve and then the body. That's where I'm at. But I'm using the Mohair Dream yarn in the colorway 80. It is 84% acrylic, 8% wool and 8% mohair. So most of this is acrylic, but since it has the mohair, I don't think it is going to peel that much. And well, and the yarn, well, I'm sorry because this cake doesn't look very well, but the yarn changes color itself, so as you knit is going to change, and I'm only choosing the parts where it is brown, pink or white, sometimes the darker parts, but the gray parts I'm not doing anything with it. So that is it. This is the last synthetic yarn that I have in my stash, and I want to knit something with it and just shift towards purchasing more natural fibers. Now my last knit is this one. Well, this is also something that I'm just trying to knit, just seeing where it goes. And the lace pattern, it is quite simple, and I'm knitting this just because I had some alpaca haze by Rowan left from this sweater, so I just wanted to knit something with it, and I started doing something, and then I went to the yarn store to buy more, and they almost didn't have, just had 2 of those, and I needed 5. So I purchased 2 of these, softest alpaca, also by Mota Rowan. The colorway is similar, but this is more pink and this is more white. So this is just 2 strands of the alpaca haze, and this is 1 strand of the alpaca haze and 1 of the softest alpaca. And I think the transition ended up being soft, like the softest alpaca. And I think it's okay. I don't think you can tell that those are 2 different colors. This is the color 17 and this is the 017, so theoretically they are the same, but they are actually not, but they are quite similar. So that is it. The composition. This is 20% alpaca, 7% wool, and 23 recycled nylon. So it is still a bit synthetic, but I like it. And yes, I think instead of using this, I could have used the snafnug, for example, that is totally natural, but I think recycled nylon is okay for now, and I needed to match and use some leftovers. The last thing that I need to show you is my latest yarn purchases. This is the Ulysse yarn by De Rerand Natural. There is a mix of French and Portuguese merino wool, and it is sport weight, and the color that I chose is the aubépine. I think it's how you pronounce it. If I were to cast on today, I would cast on the Maisie cardigan, but I'm not going to cast on nothing yet because I think I have a lot of whips, at least for now, I think, and there are a lot of cardigans here. So I'm not going to cast on, but I just wanted to show you. This is just going to be seated. I bought a sweater quantity, but I'm not going to do anything with it. So those are all my updates knitting wise. I hope you liked this episode, and I hope you come back to the next one. So don't forget to subscribe and click the like button, and I will see you later. Have a wonderful day and a happy knitting. Bye! Bye!